Support for this podcast comes from Magic: The Gathering Arena. You know the name. Now play the original strategy card game for free in an immersive digital experience full of explosive action and rewarding challenges. New to Magic? No problem. MTG Arena gives you the tools to become a Magic master. Learn the basics at your own pace and unlock 15 decks just by playing. Download Magic: The Gathering Arena for free on your Mac or PC, available on the Epic Games Store.
At Miami University, you can earn your bachelor's and master's degrees in 5 years or less. Choose from 30-plus combined degree programs. Learn more and apply today at miamioh.edu/apply 2021.
The following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
Ballers! Welcome back to another episode, another edition of Today in Sports Betting. I'm your host, Devin Ellington at D8LE007 on Twitter. We're at Hoopball Gaming over on the Twitter sphere. We're at Hoopball Tweets. And it's about to be fantasy basketball season. All of our contributors are in the thick of so many different drafts right now. So make sure to follow us over on Hoopball Fantasy, also on Twitter, to get all of your blurb and injury news and all the stuff that you need for fantasy basketball. The Fantasy Pass over on hoop-ball.com has just launched within the last 3 weeks. Our premium content for the Wager Pass, which, hey, we went 3-0 last night in college basketball, plus 4.5 units. Click the sweeperoonie. We've got DFS articles from our main guy Santino and Micah Patria over there. We've got a great collection of contributors. Josh Millman, Brandon Marcus covers the Clippers. And you're just going to, pay a small fee, and you're going to get all this awesome premium content to help you win all your fantasy leagues. I'm using it right now. That Brew 150 player ranking is saving my life right now in the 12-team 11-cat Roto League I'm doing right now. And like I said, I'm Devin. I'm going to be joined here a little bit by my main man, Vince Miracle at VM Center on Twitter. I can't get too much further into the show without talking about our presenting sponsor, and that is Manscaped. Manscaped.com. You go over there, you use promo code HOOPBALL20, HOOPBALL20. You're going to get free shipping. You're going to get 20% off. And the Lawnmower 3.0 just came out. It's got that fully waterproof electronic technology. It's smooth, it's seamless, it glides. It's awesome. And it goes just so perfectly with the rest of their materials and the rest of their products, such as the beard balms, the underwear, the moisture wicking briefs, the shave kits. They got it all. So you just use promo code HOOPBALL20. We'll take care of you. And then in return, that Lawnmower 3.0 will take care of you. HOOPBALL20, HOOPBALL20 over at manscaped.com. All right. We're going to unpack a good amount of stuff here in a little bit of a rapid fire session. We've got some college basketball picks that I'm going to throw out there that's going to be tipping off within the next couple hours or so. We're getting at this podcast at about 4:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're doing it a little bit different, a little less traditional. We're just trying to work in some different time angles within this podcast. Going to talk some NFL because Vince is the man with that. We got some fights to look forward to, the fight card. Vince is successful on those. So without further ado, I'm going to just stop talking about Vince, and I'm actually let him talk. Vince, thanks again for coming back on, bud. I'm glad that we could get this one put together. I'm excited. How are you doing, boss?
What's up, man? Glad to be back. Glad to finally see you back in the driver's chair over there. I had to fill in for those couple episodes, but you're back, and I'm here. We're ready to do this. We're about to get these dubs for everybody. I don't know if you guys know, and I know you just said we do the NFL picks, and we won this weekend. I just want to let you guys know this right now. I had never done a 3-unit bet on Hoop Ball yet, and I did it on Sunday. Not only did I do that, Devin, I went all in. Not only did I say I'm going to do a 3-unit bet on the money line for Arizona, I said do a 2.5-unit bet. Yeah, I added the half. No one else does that but me. I said a 2.5-unit bet on -3 for Arizona. And guess what? Both them bad boys hit. Let's go.
I'm no mathematician, so hold on. Wait while I count my phalanges real quick. So that's 1, 2. That's like 5.5 units on one game.
One game, 5.5 unit bet. Then
Ooh.
I had to follow that up with Miami kicking a ridiculous field goal for no reason. I get why they were doing it. Just go for the touchdown, not complete it, and the game be over. I would have hit my 1 unit for KC, but Miami had to show that they were tough and show that they got Tua right there slinging it around, and they kicked a field goal for no reason. Ugh.
Yeah.
So that ruined my weekend because I lost that extra unit. But that premium stuff, man, we had it on there. A 5.5 unit bet for you guys to go on. You rolled with me. You won big. I'm pumped.
So between Vince's Sunday and then my college basketball from last night, that's, if you put those into play, that's 10 units right there for you guys. But, as everyone knows, including myself, most and foremost, I have been on a little bit of I can't say little bit, but man, this cold streak, I feel like I got I can't never pronounce this word, pneumonia. I got pneumonia in Antarctica. So I am, but yesterday with the sweep on the premium, I went 9 and 4 on all my plays. So it's good to see those days and to know that they actually can and do exist. Because as we know, as we've talked about a ton on this show, Vince, the sports betting, it can be pretty unforgiving at times, and it ebbs and flows. And whenever you're just stuck in one wavelength, that you can get a little, let's say, questionable about yourself, like
stay in a little bit of that
skills.
sweater weather. Yeah, you stay in that sweater weather over there. You're kind of getting a little chilly. You're like, man, when's the fireplace gonna kick on? You get a little cold when you're on that cold spell. When you hit that little rut, you never know when you're gonna climb out. But guess what, Devin? You came out in a big way, big way in college basketball. You know what I mean?
It was a relief. It was a relief. I needed it. I really did, just for my peace of mind, because like these folks, they pay for our premium, so it's like we need to put our best of our best out there. And I feel like everything I put out there is my best because we do the research. I dig into the numbers. I put time into this, and whenever I was on that cold streak, it was just like, man, what is
how
going
much we
on?
put onto our shoulders, guys. Like, we get your guys' DMs. Like, Devin, I know you probably got just as many as I do over here. And I've only been doing hoopball gaming, over the last maybe 3 weeks, like not even that long. And I'm already getting DMs of people's tickets and what do I think about this and what do I think about that? Like, hey, I saw your play. What do you think if I add that? And they tell you the amount that they're doing or how many units they're putting down. And you start getting a little nervous like it's your own money. So I'm telling you guys, when Devin and I give out our picks on that premium side, all of us, when we give you our premium pick side, we know you guys are reading it. We know you guys are going to that with big hopes that those things are going to hit because that we're putting in the time, the research, and everything that we need to. Like this NBA season, last season, I finished like total up. I finished up 63% of my money. 63% of my money. So that's solid to me. I feel like with a long 82-game season, and I should say 2 seasons ago because the NBA season was kind of wonky. In the bubble, I was hitting heavy. This upcoming season, I feel like there's so much money to be made because I don't think, especially in the first 2 weeks of the NBA season, because I don't know if Vegas is going to know how to gauge these teams and how talented each of these players are. And I'm telling you this right now, I see home runs. They already got week 1 bets out for NBA, and I'm already got my list ready. As long as there's no injuries, as long as there's no crazy trades, I already know where I'm going, and I cannot wait to give it to you guys on that premium side. So join up because we're about to start hitting some home runs here very, very soon.
I am so stoked for basketball season. Being hoop ball, we are a basketball, platform. I'm going on my second year now with hoop ball. It kind of seems like I've been doing this for quite some time. It feels like it, at least, but I always forget, like, I'm still learning. I got to make sure to keep that, in the forefront of my mind whenever I'm going through these cold spells or my fantasy team for basketball is not doing so great. it was only just a couple of years that Dan and I, linked with each other, and I stumbled across this beautiful opportunity, this golden egg, this golden goose. And, I do have a high level of confidence in myself and my talents and my knowledge, but I think sometimes I get a little overzealous with how good I want to be because I'm doing it for, you guys and gals, the listeners and the Twitter followers, and also for myself. I mean, I play my own plays, but it's like, I got to remember, I'm still a pretty much rook. I'm still a rook in this industry, and I just want to be so great, and I want to be so good at this that I think I maybe take it a little too hard on myself whenever I hit these cold streaks. But I think that's probably just about every capper.
I'll tell you what I used to tell all the people that used to come up to me and ask me about what I should do. I used to be a dealer at a casino, and people are in these type of cold spells, right? I tell them the same exact thing every single time. Positive thinking, positive results. You can't win every time. If you could win every time, everyone would do it. Everyone would do it. It'd be called free money, and that's, not real. That's not actually happening. So guess what? You live through those cold spells, positive thinking, positive results. There's a light on the other end of that tunnel. Get to it, and guess what? You start hitting that green again. You start hitting big again. You just got to keep believing in what you're working at, man. And this whole season, especially this NBA season, it's going to be very interesting. And COVID plays into a factor into a lot of things. I just think that, when we're hitting this season and we're heading into the middle of next year, you're going to see the entire sports betting side for us here at Hoopball just take a huge transition and big steps forward, man. I mean, you just had a guy on the podcast just the other day, yesterday, right. I think it was, from ESPN, and they're building their own platform right now because they sponsored with Caesars Entertainment and DraftKings. They're building up the whole industry, and guess what? You already got an interview with them here on this platform. So you already know we're making the strides to get the best information possible. You brought up the fantasy basketball side, the DFS side. I helped with that side of the department when I was here 4 years ago. I did it for 4 whole years here, left the DFF side and everything like that. Now I'm back, and I'm about to be touching in with all that with Dan and everyone over there and the fantasy basketball side. There's money to be made everywhere. I hope you guys are seeing that with what we're talking about. I mean, I'm in a lot of fantasy basketball leagues. That's why I do the fantasy basketball show. I do the DFS show because I put my heart and effort out here, guys. So when we give you our picks, like I said, we put a lot on our shoulders and we put a lot out there because we want you guys to win just as much as we want to win.
It's all about building, sure, a brand, but it's also building, our credibility, our confidence. There's all sorts of, there's all sorts of stuff out there. And, as we're talking about this, I'll go ahead and just kind of untie the bow a little bit on the college basketball side. But, I submitted Campbell +4 against Elon today. And let's see, they're down 14 with 57 seconds to go. So that, I believe it was a 1.5 unit play I put into the wager pass, is not looking good. That was the first play for today. So just go ahead and get that out of the way, guys, and let you guys know that that's what's going on with that. Now, Vince, I know that you said, you've been gearing up towards the NBA and stuff, and we've talked off camera and whatnot, and, you're ready to roll for this week of NFL and whatnot. So I'm just going to throw a couple of, college basketball games out there for tonight that I'm looking forward to, and just kind of give a little bit of a breakdown on what I think might happen, and just kind of see, what your thoughts and opinions are along the way, if that works for you, boss.
Sounds good. Take the lead, man. Let me know.
All right, perfect. So I went ahead, and this one's going to be going here very shortly, but University of Texas San Antonio, the Roadrunners, going up against Oregon, Oregon State, taking on the Beavers. They are 8-point dog or favorites at home. I'll get it together. And first off, I want to say the spread and the total on this game dropped, 2 points. This was a 10-point spread for Oregon State. The spread was a little higher. It's come down. And UTSA allows 93 points per game while holding a negative 28-point differential on the season. And also, the Roadrunners are allowing opponents to effectively shoot 57%. So that means their effective shooting percentage, not their shooting percentage, but the shooting percentage that is what's called to be, most effective or open shots or winning over screens and stuff. They're hitting that at 57%. And I believe team passing is going to be a huge deal for this game for Oregon State, seeing as they are a good assists per game team and assists per made field goal team. I think that's going to lead to some good looks, open shots, and it's going to be very important. Oregon State's going to have to continue that team passing and seeing those lanes and getting the soft spots of the defenses that they have been playing against. Long story short, Oregon State is way more balanced than UTSA. And the Beavers are a really good dominant team on the glass. UTSA struggles really, really much so on the glass. So I think the battle of the glass is going to go to Oregon State. They're going to be able to get out on transition. They create a decent amount of turnovers. And then let's hope that they keep hitting that, field goal percentage the way they are and keep balanced and keep UTSA off balance. And, I'm glad I got the 8 number. Sure, I'm a little worried that it dropped a little, in favor of UTSA. But as far as the numbers go and what I was looking into, I think the strong parts of Oregon State's game are really going to be polarized against the Roadrunners. They're ranked about 300th in just about everything out of 357 teams. So give me Oregon State -8. I like that one to start the night off. That's going to be the first one. I'm going to catch my breath there. Vince, you got anything to say on that?
What's your thoughts on the over-under for that 148?
I was looking at that, and with how inefficient UTSA is and how efficient Oregon State has been, I'm worried about a little bit of negative regression for Oregon State. Just in the sense of the total, not for the spread or anything, but, just for those like couple 2, 3, 4 points that might swing, the game going over. I was looking at that when I was researching this game, and I just couldn't find something that made me feel, comfortable on either which way. So I stayed put off of that.
Yeah, that's the thing that got me. It looks like they literally have that as a coin flip.
Right. And it's, UTSA, sure, they've allowed 93 points per game, but, I don't see this Oregon State team scoring 93 points just because that's not the game they play. They don't have a high amount of, field goal attempts per game. They just kind of, they go through their sets, they do what they want, and they just kind of, they take what they're given, which is why they have a lot of that good success with team assists and all that.
About that, how many points does the Oregon State give up per game?
Let me find that real quickly. I had it up earlier.
If UTSA is giving up 93 points per game and Oregon gives up, just say 60 average, I mean, I would take the over. Especially when you start getting up that, if you get up, let's say 12 points last 3 minutes and you just kind of start seeing a lot of buckets going both ways.
Right.
There's a good pot. I mean, if it's a coin flip already as is, I like the over in those situations. But I'm also, that says if you say heads or tails, I always take heads.
So I'm seeing 71.2. Oregon State allows 71.2% or 71.2 points per game.
I mean, just from the numbers that you're listing right there, I'm already leaning more towards the over. A lot of passing, a lot of looking for easy buckets from both sides. I mean, the over, and already looking at mybookie.ag, they have it as a coin flip, so they really don't know. If they're both saying -110 and you have to choose one or the other, just number-wise from what you're telling me right now, I'm taking the over.
Well, especially in a year like 2020 where there is no crowd noise or true home, court advantage or whatever. It's these offenses are able to operate a little bit, more efficiently. And we've seen it a lot with football, but now that the cold weather set in and the defenses and whatnot, we're starting to see the unders come back into play. But early in the NFL and the NCAA football seasons, we saw overs just complete, it was like Oprah, it was like everyone gets an over, you get an over, you get an over, you go over by 60 points, you get it was crazy. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. And I might have to throw a little half unit sprinkle on that now that you brought it up because, the one thing I think that stuck out to me was the fact that Oregon State actually holds their opponents to, a 47.7% effective field goal percentage. And my belief and my confidence in this UTSA team to hit shots just wasn't really, high. And I wasn't sure, and I'm pulling up the dual game log right now, but let's see, Oregon State, they've played Cal. They let Cal score 63 points. They had Washington State score 59 on them. Wyoming scored 76, and Portland scored 87.
Yeah, I would take that over just from those scores alone.
Yeah.
What about Texas's games?
Let's see. They have played a Division II team, so I won't count that. They lost 81-64 to Texas Pan Am. 81-64, like I said. 105-66 against Oklahoma. And then they played another Divisional II school where they won 91-62.
Yeah, I'm leaning more toward that over. The more
yeah. Man, you just talked me into something there, bud. All right. Well, we talked a good amount about the Roadrunners and the Beavers, so let's transition on to the next one. So this game, it opened really weirdly. Pittsburgh and Miami. So the total right now is 133.5. And at first glance, the line opened up at 140 on the total. And I put a ticket in at the under of 137.5, chasing some of that downward steam. But then the total just continued to drop. Like I said, it's down to 133.5. It's dropped another 4 points. So now I'm trying to decide, I'm looking at maybe possibly hedging between that 137.5 and the 133.5. I feel like a 4 or 5 point swing is enough for me to maybe capture value on both sides. Ultimately, what I did do is I ended up just going ahead and grabbing the over 133.5. And this was my thinking. Obviously, at 140 at the opening line, Vegas thought that it had a shot of getting to that number or somewhere close. So we're talking about a 7 point swing from opening line to where we are now. And I can tell you why. It's because, Miami is going to be down 2 starters as well as other depth pieces. I think they have like 7 or 8 guys on the injury report. But the fact of the matter is those starters being out may hurt Miami more on defense. And so therefore more points are going to be given up from the Miami side of things, in my opinion. And so Pitt, in games that have gone over have gone over. So games in which Pittsburgh played and the over went, the point differential for those overs is plus 36. So they've gone over plus 36 points. And then with the unders in their games, they've only covered the under by minus 7.5 points. So the under hit by like 3 points in one game and by 4.5 points in the other. So I'm looking at the over of 133.5 here. I went ahead and got rid of my philosophy of hedging with that 137.5. And I'm just going to go ahead and play the over of 133.5 here. Pittsburgh's a 3-point favorite. Might throw a little half unit sprinkle on that. They opened as a plus 4 point dog before Miami's injury designations were locked in. So I'm looking for some defensive inefficiencies from Miami and lack of experience to allow Pittsburgh to get to the foul line very often. And then Pittsburgh, they don't offer a ton of resistance. They have a decent defense, but I think there's some guys on Miami's team that can still score the ball to help this total go over.
What's your spread for that under 137.5?
It was minus 115, I believe.
Man, that's a good hedge because if you hit that refresh button right now, like I just did, Pittsburgh's at is at over 132.5. So you get an additional point.
Jeez, man, it's still moving.
So just to go on the over of that hedge would be nice because now you have a nice gap.
Yeah. So let's see. So you're saying take the over of 132.5.
Yeah.
And then still hedging with the under of 137.5.
Yeah, because you have a good chance of hitting both.
Yeah.
That's 5 points. That's 5 big points.
Yeah.
Potentially hitting both. And with the spread only being 4,
Right.
your spread is already covering the spread of the game.
Oh, yeah.
Let's say it's a 4-point game, you win both.
Okay. All right.
That's just my personal opinion.
Hey, you said you weren't going to be opinionated on any of this college basketball stuff. Now you got me thinking.
You're giving out too many numbers, man. When I hear numbers, I see things everywhere.
Well, I am a numbers guy. I love it. I love the analysis. So, all right. Well, hey, you guys heard it here. We're going to take that over 132.5. It's now under the 133.5 that I submitted in my write-up. So,
what you said. You said that this line started at over under at 140 and
140. Yeah.
140 or 140 and a half?
140.
Wow, that's still almost 8-point difference.
Yeah.
Half a point. It's a 7.5 point difference. That's crazy.
I mean, I get Miami's down 2 starters and
2 starters and some bench players.
Yeah, I mean,
that's when you see a new name come out. That's when you see that's a third role that either takes that big leap or they show how strong their team actually is. I mean, this could be a big game for Florida to show their depth before we start heading into the next year with, March Madness and all that stuff. Like, this could be a big game for them, especially as underdogs with their 2 key players out now in the starting unit. How good is their defense really? How good is their offense when someone that's good is off the floor? Because you never know what could happen in March Madness. Foul trouble, injury. It's time for the other team to show up, and this can be their first test for it.
Yeah, and don't forget, you still got Jim Larinaga coaching the Hurricanes. He's a great coach. I mean, the guy's a good coach. Pittsburgh 4-1, Miami's 3-1. So
that'd be nice right now. That sounds nice. All those numbers you threw at me, man. I like your hedges. That's
yeah.
You have a double chance for a double whammy right there.
Oh yeah. All right, I like it. All right, so gonna not stay in Florida, but stay talking about another team that's in Florida. The game is in Cincinnati, Ohio tonight. The South Florida Bulls are going on the road as an 8.5-point favorite or dog against the Cincinnati Bearcats. And so first things first, Cincinnati's going to be without their 6th man. He's a 7-footer, as well as a couple other pieces in their team that, they're freshmen, but, they're going to be down 4 total players is what it looks like. And South Florida is returning all of their starters from last year's college basketball invitational championship team, postseason tournament underneath the NIT, obviously. But I'm going to be a little more short and brief with this one just because I think it was a little more clear cut. So South Florida, in my opinion, they're going to have to execute on offense and hit big shots. They're going to have to get open shots and then hit those shots. And I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, to see the Bulls upset Cincinnati and get a conference win. This is a team that has a lot of continuity. It's a team that, as far as ratings and measurements and rankings go, they're very, very close to Cincinnati in regards to production and efficiency. The one thing that I definitely need them to, clean up on, and in order for me to feel good about tonight, is they got to hit their 2-point shots, their 2-pointers. Right now they rank 219th in the country at 46.5% and hitting their 2-point shots. And Cincinnati, they're at 104th defensively, an opponent 2-point percentage at 47.1%. So I'm expecting a little bit of an uptick for South Florida on their 2-pointers. I would love to see them get up closer to, the 49%. And a lot of people don't realize, but South Florida, they actually play pretty good team defense. So right now, they're actually the 68th ranked team out of 357 teams in opponent field goals made per game at 22.8. And then they are also top 75 in opponent field goal attempts. So not only do they limit, to a sense, their opponents taking a lot of shots, but they also limit the amount that they make. And then they also hold their opponents to 26.2% from beyond the arc, which is 35th best in the country. Now, Cincinnati's already a lousy 3-point shooting team, so I'm not sure how helpful that last number is going to be. But I don't think we're going to see Cincinnati all of a sudden start hitting threes in this game. And South Florida, they rank very, very close to Cincinnati as far as steals and blocks on defense, what they allow their opponents to do as far as steals and blocks. And if they stay out of foul trouble early and they don't turn the ball over a crap ton and they hit those shots that I was telling you about, don't be shocked, guys, if South Florida actually beats Cincinnati this evening. 8.5 points is a lot, but I'm going to take the dog on the road in South Florida, putting 1.5 units on it, and go Bulls. South Florida Bulls, 8.5 points.
You taking the spread or you taking the ML?
I'll take the spread. Yeah.
Say you better hit wow. Units on that 330 money line. That's great.
No.
I'll be like, you are the man. I would watch that game for you. That would be insane.
I kind of want to do it now that you're saying it would be
a nice
insane.
lotto ticket. I gave out a few lotto tickets on Saturday for the MMA fights. So I'd never shy away from a good lotto.
I like putting them together. There's some real thrill in it. It's a lot of it's chalk, but you got to have that if you're putting lotto tickets together. So
yeah, sometimes if you have like 2 or 3 like 2-game parlays, or I know a lot of people that never exceed 3 games. I personally never like to exceed 3 games in a parlay personally, but I mean, like when you're doing all those parlays, and you're doing let's say 5 single bets, it's always good to have that one lottery ticket that can cover a parlay. You know what I mean? Right. And especially if you're so confident, like for example, mine was Junior Dos Santos, so JDS this weekend. It was like a plus 430, and this guy is a UFC known name, like he's huge. And he's a heavyweight, and anything can happen in the heavyweight division. He looked good until he didn't, but I mean, it's a good lottery ticket. I love those. Heck yeah. It makes your night a little bit more, just a little more exciting. Like you got something else to focus on a little bit. All right. Let's see. Just real briefly, throw a couple other college lines out there. I'm not going to talk about them. I'm just going to say kind of what I'm looking at in them. Tennessee Tech and Jacksonville State, Ohio Valley Conference, baby. Primetime matchup. I'm looking at the over. I think these teams are going to be able to score a lot of points. It's at 133. It's risen from the 131.5. The spread shrunk, so I think this is going to be a closer game. Tennessee Tech is getting 7. And, over 133 is where I'm sitting at on this one. And then just another, probably I would say the marquee matchup of the night, just because it features a top 10 team in Nova. Butler and Nova playing each other. Butler's getting 13 points. I'm going to go ahead and just do a half unit on that. Just, snag 13 points with a familiar foe. Butler and Nova had some really good games last year. Sure, Butler lost a lot of players, a lot of depth. But, we've seen it time and time again, year in, year out, where Butler just kind of they're supposed to have a down year, but then for some reason they're second or third in their conference, and they're a team that no one ever wants to play. So up on that TCU Oklahoma State game.
So being an Oklahoma State fan, I really just hope we win this one, because this would be a great one to win. Right. TCU's looked pretty decent early on in the season, and Jamie Dixon always plays that fierce defense. And I've liked what I've seen from Cade Cunningham, the number one overall recruit in the country, last year, freshman for us this year. 5 points, I
want to buy the 1.5, to be honest.
Yeah, to get it up to 6.5.
No, I want to buy it and go down.
Oh, buy it down. Oh, right. I see.
Get to like 3.5.
3.5. Get it under that key number of 4.
Yep. And I kind of like the OSU in this game.
It's a home game. Gallagher-Iba is a tough place to play.
Every time I watch Oklahoma State play, they always show out. Is this an ESPN game?
This is, yes, at 7 Eastern.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like everything is like making me think I should take that. Just buy the 1.5 points.
That would probably be minus 130, minus 140 after buying it.
I think it goes like minus 130. Because let's say if I bet, I'll tell you right now. Yeah, so it's basically minus 130 because if you bet 100, you get 71.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like that. It's a
Hmm.
good bet. I
I'm
like
still figuring our team out, honestly, man. So I'm probably the wrong one to ask. I was not really impressed with well, we had to win at the buzzer to beat who was it was a smaller school. I can't remember. I'll figure it out. But when we struggled, I mean, we played really well against Wichita State. We were able to win, that game, which, we all know what's going on with that program. They're kind of in an exodus right now, and the whole Greg Marshall situation. But let's see. Oh, it was Wichita State. Yeah, no, it was Wichita State that Cade Cunningham had to hit that game-winning three against. But there's another team. Yeah, it's our first game against Texas Arlington. We only won by 7 points. Arlington's a pretty good team, though.
3.5.
Yeah. Oral Roberts, we beat by 5, which is another in-state school in Oklahoma. So, I would love to see a little bit more from them before backing them in a spot like this against a TCU team that just makes me feel a little weird. But, I wouldn't be mad at you at all. I think that's a good play. You say that they show out when you watch them, so maybe you should watch them tonight so my team can get a dub.
I'm tired of the preseason. I already know what I need to look at, so I need to watch something more interesting. So college basketball, I think, is going to fill that void tonight.
Yeah.
And, man, this minus 3.5, man, it seems so nice. What did it start out earlier today? Had to have been.
It hasn't really moved. I think it's
Okay.
just it was 5.5 actually. So just a hook of movement.
So if I get it, I still get the half down, and then I might take that, man. I'm just like looking at it, just trying to talk myself into something. I really don't have any plays for today.
Well, let me
tomorrow.
pull up just to help you out here. I got the injury report up. I want to make sure that no one all right, so let's see here. So it was updated on the 12th of December for Oklahoma State. Chris Harris Jr., guard depth for us. He's going to be out. But then you've got 2 guys for TCU. And this is, listeners, check Twitter, try to find those beat reporters and whatever you can find on Google, Twitter. But as of right now, there's still 2 guys, PJ Fuller and Charles O'Bannon, for TCU, which are pretty important pieces of their team. They're both questionable with ankle injuries, but those injuries that hasn't been updated for a couple of days. So make sure to check that out. And then I'm just looking over like a overview for the teams, and Oklahoma State has a plus 9.3 point or average score margin. TCU plus 6.3, so they're both above the par mark. TCU shooting 53.1 effective field goal percentage right now.
I took it.
You took it? All right.
The 2 tears in a bucket, duck it. You know what I mean?
Chuck it in the. Well, I can't. Can we drop F-bombs on this show?
I certainly don't. I would not recommend it.
All right. Well, good thing I stopped.
I said duck it, guys. I said duck it. Or should I say, okay, OSU, get me a bucket. You know what I mean? It's nothing crazy. No bad words over here. We're a clean family show.
Chuck it in the huck it bucket.
Exactly. Yeah. And now every time you say that, people know exactly what you mean.
It's like those old, you remember the Orbit commercials? You lent liquor, like.
Remember I know this is going to be off topic, and we can move to the Thursday night football game after this if you want.
Uh-huh.
Remember those Viagra commercials where they would never actually say Viagra? It was just the guy smiling.
Just yeah. But they would always say something like the little blue pill or
man, it's so happy. Do you know why he's so happy?
Yeah, I used to love all those old commercials. Commercials just need to make a glorious heyday return. But everyone's streaming, so it's like no one sees the awesome commercials anymore.
Right. There's still some good ones out there. It's just like it's not as up in your face anymore. Like this is a horrible transition. I can't believe it. Okay. So the new one that I see all the time is the the woman shaving commercial. I don't know if you've seen this.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
she walks by a tree.
And the tree changes.
The hedges get cleaned up.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a shaving commercial.
Right.
Pretty
Well,
funny.
that's not, nonchalant at all.
I think it's so funny.
Yeah, I agree. All
Thursday
right.
night football.
So, football, NFL, Thursday night, right?
Tomorrow. It's gonna be a good one. Chargers, Raiders. Raiders favorited by -3. This is a big game for the Raiders, I believe are coming on a 2-game losing streak. Chargers just can't seem to squeak out consistently of who they cannot figure out who they are. All they know is that Herbert's the future and they got nice pieces. +3, I really like the Chargers. At +145, I really like the Chargers. And I really
Visit Hellsberg.com for safe and easy ways to shop this holiday, like free shipping and returns, virtual shopping appointments, or buy online and pick up in store. And right now, get a free Microsoft Surface Go 2 with the purchase of $1,499 or more. You gift, you get. Limited time offer while supplies last. See online or in store for details.
As a business owner, you eventually realize you can't do everything. You need a team to grow your business. But hiring is complicated. Belay, an innovative staffing solution, has successfully matched thousands of small businesses with virtual assistants, bookkeepers, and social media strategists to meet their staffing needs. And they can help you too. So whether you need part-time or full-time help, they have the right team member ready to help you juggle less and accomplish more. Learning more about Belay is the easiest thing you'll do today. Just go to belaysolutions.com. That's BELAY solutions.com to find out if staffing through Belay will give you time back in your day to focus on what only you can do, while Belay finds the assistant, bookkeeper, or social media help you need.
really like this Chargers team's future. However, if the Raiders want to stay as a serious team and one that people can actually take seriously, it was just like 3 weeks ago on ESPN where all the analysts were calling them the dark horse to the Super Bowl, right? And now they've become a joke. They barely beat Jacksonville, or was it I think it was Jacksonville where they threw that Hail Mary to get the win. They get destroyed by the Falcons. And then this past week, I don't even remember seeing them show up. That's just
they didn't really get off the bus at all.
Yeah, and maybe it's because Jacob still is injured, but I love that Gruden came out and said, hey, everyone's injured at this time. You want to play, get on the field. You know what I mean? So that's good. I like Ruggs. I just think this is a must-win game for the Raiders. And at -165, I know that's a lot higher than a lot of people like, especially Dan. Dan doesn't really like when I support all those money lines at -165, but I'm betting that. I know that a lot of people, you guys probably won't take that with me. I like that a lot, though. And then -3 for the Raiders. I'm taking that as well. I'm doing two units on that -3 and 2.5 on that -165. I think the Raiders take this weekend.
We're gonna have that little 4.5, 5-unit swing in the one game again. Is this your shot call for?
This is just the Raiders needing to prove a point. There's no real story behind it. The Raiders are a better team. They're hands down a better team. Abrams is back.
Yep.
They just can't give up the deep ball. The Chargers always seem to give them fits. Joey Bosa is going to get to Derek Carr. So it's going to be a game where the Raiders are going to have to get quick slants out. Josh Jacobs is going to actually have to run that ball. And I need Carr to throw it to Waller.
Yeah.
Like, I'm tired of him throwing it to Aguilar. Like, Aguilar's been good this year. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, to be honest. But Aguilar's been great this year. Hunter Renfrow has been really good coming down those little inside slots. But you know who the best receiver on that team is?
Darren Waller.
Darren Waller.
Darren
Throw
Waller.
that man the football.
Didn't he get like 18 targets a couple weeks ago?
What?
He got like 18 targets a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Pass him
crazy.
the ball. He is your Travis Kelce. He is everything you need. Pass that man the football. He is fast. He's got big shoulders. He's got hands. Like, throw him the ball. And then after that, start looking down the field to Ruggs. Ruggs beeps past everybody. He looks at you, waves at you while passing you. Ruggs is that fast, and he's got hands. Like Derek Carr needs to show up in this game. I like the -3. If you want to be safe, I mean, I'm never opposed to buying points. Like I said, I like -165 lines. I like -125 lines better, and that's probably what you'll get if you take off a half a point. Those are my two big ones. 2 units for sure on that -3, 2.5 on that money line. The Raiders are winning this week, and if they don't take them seriously. They need a new quarterback, and that's exactly what everyone's going to say after that game if they cannot get it done. But here's the thing. I just don't see that happening. I think, Gruden knows exactly what he wants out of this team. I think the Raiders know how big of a game this is for them if they want to stay at all in contention for that wild card spot. So it's a big game for the Raiders, and the Chargers are just trying to play out to the end of the season.
Yeah, so a few weeks ago, I think it was earlier in the NFL season, I was berated and attacked by Chiefs Kingdom on Twitter because it was after the Raiders beat the Chiefs. And I replied to a tweet that it was essentially like, oh, congrats on winning your personal Super Bowl for the season. At least Kansas City has working water, clean water, or something like that. And so I was like, well, hey, that's kind of like a cruddy thing to say. Keep it in the front of your minds that, just before baby perfect little lamb Mahomes came along in recent history, you guys were struggling a lot. And if you remember even further before Alex Smith, you guys were like the skid mark of the NFL. So Tyler Thigpen, Brady Croyle, those names ring a bell. and so, this group of Chiefs fans, it was probably about 10, 12 of them. They were just like, it was monstrous, honestly, but that's it. I was enjoying it. I was stirring the pot. And, I went out and said that, don't, get me wrong, but like this Oakland team or this Las Vegas team is a playoff team. Look at the teams that they've beaten. And this was, let's see. Okay, so it was a little longer ago than what I was thinking.
Chiefs. I mean, I get it, man. Everyone likes the Raiders. All Raider fans love pointing to who they've beaten.
Mm-hmm.
They love saying, we beat the Chiefs. We beat the Saints. Like they'll name off the big teams that they've beaten. And I get that, but guess what? Your record stands where it is. You're still not at the top of your division. You're still fighting for a wild card, and you have a quarterback that's inconsistent. So,
yeah,
I want to believe in this Raider team. I have a lot of friends, especially from the area that I live in, that are huge Raider fans, and I would love to see them do good. I think it'd be great if you can look at them and say, yep, that's a real playoff team. Derek Carr is a real starting quarterback. I'd be pumped for that, but as of right now, you just don't know. But if you're going to make a statement, it would be this game against a Chargers team that carries a lot of hype, not for the wins, but just for their play style. So
right.
I think you're going to see you need to see an enthusiastic Raider team, and I'm going big with them. Like I'm going big on these Raiders, and I never normally do that. That's how confident I am that they're going to win this game this week. That's why I'm big on that money line. 2.5 units, man, and getting closer and closer to that day. It wouldn't surprise me if I go a full 3.
Ooh, I'm probably going to tell you on it. You got me all excited for it. I mean, I'm looking at the recent games that the Raiders have played, and we talked a little bit about it, but they win 3 in a row where they beat Cleveland, the Chargers, Denver. Then they lose by 4 points to Kansas City after beating them earlier in the season.
That was a great game.
Then it was a great game. Then you have the outlier. This, losing 43-6 to Atlanta. Throw that one out. That's film that you're not even going to watch. Whatever. So speaking on the last 4 games, they've lost 3 out of the last 4. One was against the Chiefs by 4. One was that Atlanta outlier that I'm speaking on. Then this one was a little more shaky, obviously, but the Jets. the Jets
threw a Hail Mary for the win.
Yeah, they ended up beating
ball.
the Jets. So some might call that an outlier. But then, then you go and you play against Indianapolis with a hurt Josh Jacobs.
No Josh Jacobs
against one of the best defenses in the NFL. Sure, 44-27 is embarrassing, but Indianapolis will probably be in the playoffs, and they have a really, really good defense. So if you take the last 4 games and kind of break it down a little more microscopically, and then you look at the 3 games before those, the last 7 games for the Raiders have not been terrible at all. And then they lost to Tampa Bay this year. They've lost to Buffalo. They've lost to New England. They've lost to some pretty tough teams. New England, now we know a lot more about them. They lost to them in week 3. So, I like your take on the Raiders in this spot.
They have 3 big games to end out the year: Chargers, Dolphins, Broncos.
Oof.
All 3 of those games have, with this Chargers defense, you just have Joey Bosa. I'm not really scared of the Chargers defense except for Bosa. But away from that, the Dolphins defense has been crazy good. And the Broncos defense has been crazy good. The only difference between those two, I don't really trust the Dolphins offense, and I don't at all ever trust the Broncos offense. The Chargers offense is scary. So this is going to test the Raiders defense. This is, again, you brought up all those games. Again, the Chiefs game, the fact that was a great game, even though they took a loss 35-31. Great game. You can't stop Mahomes. It's the 3 games after that, though, to continue that 4-game losing streak. Falcons, they never showed up. It's like they partied in Atlanta and never even touched the field. That Raiders-Jets game, they won that game, but they didn't deserve a single win at all. It's like as if the Jets gave them that win. Who goes all out, full throttle blitz on a Hail Mary play? The Jets do. You know why? Because they want to get that number 1 pick. The Jets gave them that game. They should not have had that. That's why I consider this a 4-game losing streak. And then they lose to the Colts. And yeah, you can bring up the Josh Jacobs thing. Again, I know a lot of Raider fans like to do that, but they didn't even really start trying to score points until the second half.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. They can, the Raiders have all the abilities to get up the field on 3 different levels: ground game, low inside passes, and deep throws. They have all 3 levels to get in there. And on top of that, their defense is their biggest issue, but they have a leader now in Abrams. They have a nice line that
Max Crosby.
Yeah, that pressures at least runners when they try and come up the middle. They just don't ever put it together consistently. But if they want to make a real fight for that wild card, there are 3 winnable games in front of them. Right now, it starts tomorrow, and they need to know that heading into that game. And if you believe in the Raiders as much as everyone did just 2 weeks ago, when everyone was saying or 3 weeks ago when the Raiders were the dark horse to make it to the Super Bowl, Stephen A. Smith is all over ESPN saying that, building up the hype around this team. It's because they have talent. They know what's on the line now with 3 games left. They're going to show up. They're going to show up.
Well, and they also recently just fired Paul Gunter, defensive coordinator. So look for that defensive unit to maybe come together. And then not to mention, we're talking about coaches here, where I am at least. You got Anthony Lynn. Just watch the end of the first half and the end of games and his coaching inabilities. And then his in-game coaching also. And then you've got one of the best to ever do it in John Gruden. I'm one to go ahead and take coaching into an account for, handicapping also. And I'm looking for the better coach to win this game, and that's obviously John Gruden. So, like I said, I like where your head's at on this one. I'm probably going to have to tell you on it. Now that we've dissected it more, it makes a lot of sense.
Your stomach's going to hurt if you're riding with me because I'm taking that money line more than I'm taking that spread. But I think the final score is going to be something ridiculous, like 28-24.
It's going to be
a super close game, and it's going to come down to a Raider drive. Or
a failed Chargers drive that Anthony Lynn don't know how to use his timeouts on.
The one thing I do want to see, I want to see the Raiders. Everyone's going to bring up the Chiefs. I don't like that game. The game I want to see the Raiders play, I want to see the Raiders play the way they did against the Browns.
Yes. Yeah.
I want to
completely shut them down
against the Browns. That's the best way that's the best way they're going to attack this team. Shut down the run and take out the middle of the field.
Yeah.
If they beat you on the outside, they beat you on the outside. Shut down the run, shut down the middle of the field, because that's what Herbert's looking. Herbert's looking down and in the middle.
Yeah.
You can throw that deep ball, but if he beats you on the side, that's where he's going to beat you. Shutting down that run is going to be key because they have Austin Eckler in there, and Eckler's going to be trying to catch everything down low. And if you can stop that, that's how you should be attacking them. You should be game planning like this game, like you did against the Browns.
Right. And then, of course, turnover battle. Got to win that one. Both these teams are in the negative on the turnover department.
All to Waller.
He ain't going to, bottle drop or send it ricocheting into the air. He has hands.
Deontay Johnson. That's right. I'm taking a shot at you, Steeler fans. He's not a Deontay Johnson. All right. He's going to catch that ball. He has hands. He has foot speed. He has big shoulders, so he'll power through you. Give the ball to Josh Jacobs. I don't care that he's injured. Let that man push through the pain. If he's injured, he can't be on the field. I don't care. I'm tired.
Josh Jacobs, Darren Waller. You got to get your guys involved. Those are your guys. Like those guys getting involved those are the games that Derek Carr looks,
the best
in when they, game plan that way.
And then when you do that, guess what happens? Now you have an open Hunter Renfrow in the slot. Then you have nice Henry Ruggs out wide. Like you have open plays available when you give it to your two key players. So Carr, stop doing that. Or Gruden, put in Mariota. I'm over it.
Ooh.
These Raiders team is showing up, and I'm not betting on emotion. I'm betting on what's in front of them. And they know that. I believe in storylines. I believe in numbers that carry into games. And I've watched these Raiders play too many times. And I'm telling you this right now. They know what is in front of them with these next 3 games. And if they want to be taken seriously or not, they need to win. There's a 3-game winning streak possibly coming for the Raiders. But it all that's going to determine right now on this Thursday.
Yeah.
Money line, -165. Take that.
I like it. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to maybe get myself under that key number of 3, get to the 2.5 also by the hook. And then set up shop Thursday night, watch some college hoops, watch some professional football, and have a real nice Thursday night evening. There are, let's see, sorry, I'm just looking here. There are some Saturday games this week, so I was just making sure that a couple other games I was going to toss out weren't on Saturday and that they were on Sunday. But real quick, Vince, before I throw out some more games on the NFL side, let's go ahead and talk about mybookie.ag. You kind of already have because you said that you were looking at some lines through them. But it is the other show sponsor, mybookie.ag. You use promo code HOOPBALL, HOOPBALL. Go over there, sign up. You're going to get a 100% initial deposit match, I believe, up to $1,500. And then you're also going to get a free little bit of free play to put on some futures or some college ball. And then on top of that, they got the casino, they got the blackjack, they got great customer service, they got futures. You can bet on video games, you can bet on political stuff, you can bet on the Emmys, the Oscars. It's all there, including the customer service. So use Hoopball, let them know that the guys over here at Hoopball Gaming sent you. They'll take care of you. And mybookie.ag, bet, win, get paid. So Vince, another game that I'm looking to in this weekend slate, and we'll just kind of keep it divisional here, but that's, the Chiefs -2.5 at the Saints. I've also looked at over 51.5 in this game, even though these two teams feature really good pass defenses. I just think that with the schematics and the coaching involved and the offensive firepower for both teams, it's going to be hard to bet an under in the Chiefs games. So, yeah, I'm looking at the Chiefs to go ahead and cover that 2.5 and then for the over to hit. So I didn't know if you'd looked at this one, if you wanted to give an opinion or differing opinion on it or whatnot, but have at it.
If you want, Devin, this is completely up to you, just scheduling for later on a show. If you want to on Friday, we can go through these fully. I have like basically all my bets already set in. My biggest question for the Saints is, one, is Drew Brees coming back? That was a possibility. I don't know if they changed their mind on that or not. 2, did Tyson just get exposed last week?
Oh, true. True.
Did he just expose? Because if he did, I mean, that could be a game changer. However, if he didn't, if it was just one of those games where the Eagles were, feeling hyped behind a brand new quarterback and, Hill just couldn't get off, this Kansas City team gives up the most yards to runs. At least every time I watch them, running backs are going off. And guess what Hill is? A very fast mobile quarterback that runs like a dang running back. And then on top of that, you have Kamara. I mean, Thomas, he's still finding Thomas with some nice passes. I mean, it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm with you. Currently, I'm with you at -3.5. When we get to Friday, if we do a show, or Saturday, if we do a show prior, I will give out all of my picks and where I'm going with that game. I don't want to give out too much just because the premium stuff will be out on Sunday. Just know that Saturday, if we do a show, I'll give out a couple more.
Absolutely. And then I'll just throw one other one out there because I know that this probably won't be on the premium side for me. It's just a game that it was like an eye test thing, and I saw the matchup, and you talked about the Eagles and that defense. Honestly, the Eagles have a pretty solid defense. Say what you want about the organization and Carson Wentz and all that good stuff, but Philly and Arizona this weekend, I'm liking the underplay in this just because, like we talked about earlier, the defenses in the NFL, we see it from year in and year out. Towards the middle to the end of the year, you start seeing those defenses start trenching in, getting a little more smarter. So I think that Arizona's defense offers up a decent amount of resistance. Philadelphia's does as well. I'm not 100% sure where they both sit as far as defensive efficiencies or DVOA, but I know that they are above average because I've watched quite a few games for both of these teams, and I've seen them play as far as, a defensive presence goes. You see the battle in the line of scrimmage be won by both of these teams' defenses, very often. And so I think it starts with the linebacking play. I think it starts with the front seven, and it's going to be. I think this is actually going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be close, and so therefore I believe the under is definitely in play for me. But
I'm not going to give out a play, but one that I do have my eye on closely, and I'm wondering if they're going to go up or down with this line, is the Texans +7 against the Colts. The last time they played, it was one of the best games of the week. And it came down to defense by the Colts to stop the Texans from scoring on a final 2-minute drive. And I think there was actually less time than that. There was only a minute 30 left in that game when they made it all the way down the field into the red.
Fumbled it.
Couldn't get it in there, right? And it's crazy too because you hadn't seen Deshaun Watson throw an interception in 800 games or 800 plays prior to that, and he hadn't fumbled the ball in the same amount of time. He had had a turnover in over 800 plays. So I think he has a lot of confidence going into this game, knowing what he did last time. And I don't know if I'm taking that at all. Just 7.5 is a lot, but at the same time, I mean, they lost 26-20.
Yeah.
I mean, they barely covered the spread that last game, which was only 2 weeks ago.
Right. I'm glad you brought that up because it's not an official play of mine, but one thing that I use the Action app for, Action Network, is bookmarking bets that I'm eyeballing because, you can add bets, you can delete bets, you can, change your card up throughout the week. And I went ahead and nabbed Houston +7.5 because of that last game and, the dynamic quarterback that Deshaun Watson is. You're never out of it with Deshaun Watson. Even though Houston is terrible this year, mostly 95% of that thanks to Bill O'Brien for the damage and the crippling moves that he made as the GM over the last couple of seasons. Awesome. So I think that Houston trajectory up as far as covering spreads for the rest of the season. So I'm glad you brought that one up. Like you said, not an official play, but always good to, let the folks know kind of what we're glancing at and what our minds are kind of doing whenever we're scrolling through the cards and we see these numbers and what sticks out to us.
Yeah, that game is definitely a circle for sure. There's just so much potential in that game. A lot of these games this week, I mean, obviously my biggest bet is probably going to be tomorrow. Like that'll probably be my biggest bet of the week, just looking at the schedule that we have at hand here. But I mean, if it's just because the lines are where they sit. I mean, the only other game that you're going to see value, and I'm not going to tell you which way I'm leaning. I'm not even going to tell you the spread on this game, guys, because I don't want to give out a premium here. Is Patriots Dolphins?
Yeah.
That's going to be a game.
Divisional game, obviously. Be great. I love when, the Bill Belichick disciples try to, or when they go against each other, Brian Flores has done some really good stuff with Miami there with that defense, like you said earlier.
That defense is ridiculous.
It's underrated.
They've got an interception almost every game.
Xavier Howard, man. That guy is locked down.
How about who they intercept? They were playing Mahomes this past week.
They intercepted him 3 times.
3 times. I think all 3 were in the first half. That's crazy. He had only 3 interceptions on the year heading into that game.
Right.
Like that's how good that defense.
They doubled him up.
That's how good that defense is. Like, doesn't mean I'm leaning toward them. I'm just saying that's a good defense.
It's a good defense.
I will give you guys my premium picks. I'll give you guys at least one good one if Devin and I do a show leading into the weekend game. But all I'm saying is I'm giving you guys a pick now, and I'm letting you know how many units now. I'm not even going to – I'll provide it. It'll be on the wager pass as well. This is one of those premium picks. I don't do it often, but I'm giving it to you now. Minus 165 Las Vegas Raiders.
Bam.
2.5 units.
Lock it in there. I'm going to be there with you, man. I am.
My stomach's going to hurt that whole game.
It's all good. I'm used to it. So I'm going to do a little bit of a weird pivot here. We're going to go ahead and get out of the NFL unless you got some stuff to say furthermore. I'll say furtherwise. That's not a word.
All left I have to say is pass the ball to Darren Waller. That's it. Okay, that's it. We can move on.
He is the walrus. Cuckoo, cuckoo. So I'm mostly doing this out of vanity here because, well, I need your help, buddy. And then I also want the listeners to kind of listen to how we interact with each other. And then also all the encompassing reaches of the sports globe that we touch. Okay, so we talked about fantasy basketball a little at the top of the show and the Brew 150 and our drafts and all this. And all right, so it's my pick right now.
Oh gosh, okay, here we go.
The 72nd pick, 6th round. And I just got sniped 3 times in a row. I got sniped for Tobias Harris, CJ McCollum, and Jaylen Brown. All just back to back to back.
Tobias are 2 big snipes. And then
right.
3s and McCollum. Yikes.
So my team as of right now, I had the number 1 overall pick. So my team right now, so I have back-to-back picks coming. My team right now, I got James Harden, Vucevic, Brandon Ingram, Jonas Valanciunas, and DeJounte Murray. Now, some of the players that are available in this that I was looking at for this pick, other than the 3 that were just sniped from me, and this is based off of the Brewski 150. I've been using Brew's rankings like crazy during this draft. But we still got TJ Warren on the board. Gordon Hayward's there.
Like it.
Kemba Walker, no way. Not with that knee. Brandon Clark. I'm really trying not to take Brandon Clark right here.
6th round, if you have the opportunity and it's your pick, I mean, at this point, this is where you want to start needing talent. This guy's going to get you points, rebounds, and assists. There's a good chance. I mean, he averaged 17, 6, and 6 last year as the 3rd best option. So you're going to take him as the number 1 option first, and that's going to be Gordon Hayward, and that shouldn't even be without a hesitation.
All
I
right.
know it's 11 cats, but the cats that he will, field goal percentage, he's still going to shoot right around 47. He'll shoot 90% from the free throw line.
Yep.
He's going to get you assists, 2.5 3-pointers a game. That's the player you're taking.
That's what I was thinking.
The injuries,
yeah.
Injury news today. So at least it's just a finger. I mean, I've seen a lot of people. Being that I'm media for NBA, so I've got to actually learn when they do stuff like that. That there's pain that a lot of players try to play through, especially when they know that there's a lot on their shoulders. And I think I haven't talked to anybody at the Hornets. I mean, I cover the Kings, so, but I mean, Gordon Hayward seems like he knows that this is like his last big chance to be a number one option again. He hasn't really had this opportunity since leaving Utah.
Uh-huh.
I think he knows what's there and the potential that's there for him to show off for the Hornets team and really make a name for himself this year and rebrand himself again as that player that he's supposed to be. So I think he would play through that injury when the season begins. I like him a lot right there. I like him a lot.
All right, so go ahead and you think I should take Hayward here with this 72nd pick?
Yes.
All right, I'm doing it right now. Did it. All right.
Now you got 73 though, right?
Now I got 73. Some other players that are currently available.
Give me some of those point guards. You need someone that's. I mean, I like DeJounte Murray, but I don't. Also,
Sure.
Let me hear some of those point guards. Who else is available over there?
So honestly, guards are pretty picked through right now. So Kemba's the top-rated guard.
I don't want him at all.
Point guard specifically, right?
Yeah, just some assists. We just need.
Okay, so assists.
Pretty
Marcus Smart.
Eric
Eric Bledsoe's still available.
Nope.
No. Colin Sexton.
Nope.
Kobe White.
Nope.
Ricky Rubio. That's who I was honestly thinking about
Rubio's
taking.
not making it past. Isn't going to come back around to you.
What's up? He's not. No.
Yeah, Rubio's not coming back around to you. So I mean, if you get Rubio, your assists will come from Harden, Hayward, Rubio.
Mm-hmm. And Rubio's a good double-double machine too.
The question is though, how big? I mean, he's already coming off the bench in the preseason. I know Saunders said don't read too much into it, but I mean, Anthony Edwards is there. D'Angelo Russell always has to have the ball in his hands.
Mm-hmm.
But he looked good next to Devin Booker, and he sets up Towns so well. Back in Minnesota, fans are gonna love him.
Yeah.
And he gets you steals, man. And he's gonna get you like 2 3-pointers, like 1.5, 1.3 3-pointers a game. I mean, I like Rubio, and the free throw percentage is going to be there. What's those extra cats for you?
So assist to turnover ratio and offensive rebounds.
Offensive rebounds. So yeah, you're good with offensive rebounds. I mean, you got J Val
and Vooch.
Yeah, so I mean, you're pretty good there. You can start grabbing rebounds at the end too. I mean, some rebounding names just to keep on your radar is going to be Aaron Baines, and the other one's Tristan Thompson. So write those names down because you'll probably be able to snag one later. Especially Tristan Thompson. I think he's going to get a lot of minutes for Boston.
I agree. All right.
I'm going to go Rubio.
Rubio here?
I'm leaning Rubio, but that's just because I don't like the fact that you only have Murray as your number 2. Murray's just so injury prone, and I think Derek White's going to take a big step this year.
Now, there is one other player, a guard, that, I actually kind of like. Markelle Fultz. He's still available right here.
Markelle Fultz is going to get you 6.5, 7 assists a game. It's that turnover ratio that I'm worried about.
Right. Now, Harden's already going to have a decent amount of turnovers because he's got the ball in his hands so much.
I mean, him and John Wall, that team's going to be turnover prone.
I'm thinking Rubio. I think he still gets 25 minutes a game, even if he is second unit,
That's all you need. That's all you need is a consistent 25 minutes. I think Rubio is the easiest pick.
All right, I'm doing Rubio.
Really good. You got 2 primetime names, two both of them in new situations, both get you assists, steals, and I think Gordon Hayward getting him even if it's an 11 cat, to get him where you got him is a steal.
All right. So I'm going to go back-to-back guards.
By the way, just talking fantasy basketball here to end the show, I will be guesting with Dan on Fantasy NBA today, returning back to my old roots. Him and I will be joining back up again right before the season starts.
I'm looking forward to this year and this NBA season because this is, last year I kind of joined towards the middle. I joined the team towards the middle, after the first quarter of the season. Mm-hmm. So now that I'm integrated here with Aaron and Dan and you and Patria and all the guys, I'm kind of just hey, I'm kind of one of the guys now too. So I'm trying to change the scope of my lenses as far as I'm not listening to I'm still a fan of Dan. That sounds bad, but I'm not listening to the show as a podcast fan. I'm listening to the show as a part of the family. So it's kind of, that's really neat that, my favorite fantasy basketball podcast is, still something that's my favorite, but now I'm just a little bit more integrated and a part of the whole ordeal. So
Can I say something real quick before we go, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
Is Dan and I are finally facing each other for the first time in a league. And
Y'all never been in a league together?
No. I faced AB. I beat AB, but then he beat me in the playoffs, so I don't really want to talk about it. But Dan and I are facing off for the very first time in a league together. And I want to let Dan know this right now. Our draft is on Monday. Come prepared. Dan Chris, Thunder Dan, Herbert. Only he will know that. And the original OGs will know that. Danny B, I'm coming for your neck, bro. Let's go.
I like it. It is definitely fantasy season. Fantasy season's upon us. I just made it to the semifinals for football. Got the Monday Night Miracle with Mr. Jackson and Nick Chubb. My team name is Chubblebutt. Before that, it was the LaMarvelous Jackson 5. Anyways, so yeah, fantasy is upon us, guys. That's where I was going with that. Not to brag about my team names or anything. And then, I'm wrapping up a couple. I did the contributor draft for Hoop Ball. And now I'm doing this one for my keeper league. So very, very, very stoked. It's a good time of the year. We have so much basketball coming up. And as far as you guys know, we are Hoop Ball. So that's a basketball term. So you can see where the excitement's coming from. So Vince, this was a really fun one. We covered a lot of good stuff. We got back at it, rehashed some things. We got some really awesome lines to look forward to tonight, tomorrow, and into the weekend. You want to throw anything else out there? Anything from the Kings side, your other podcast, or anything that you want to humble plug into here?
I don't know if you guys can hear my son yelling for my wife right now, but since you guys can't, no, for podcasting wise, I'll be featured with Dan Bespris on Fantasy NBA Today. I'll be making a couple appearances on the Hoop Balls Box Score Breakdown show. I'll be here with you. The Kings Court will be coming back this season. We are going to have some pretty great guests. One, a former scout for the Atlanta Hawks and the Washington Wizards, as well as the Milwaukee Bucks. So look out for that show. There's just a lot. There's just a lot that I'm doing out there right now. I'm possibly, fingers crossed, going to be writing for another site as well, covering the entire NBA at a full scope. Just what to look forward to in the season and things like that. But mostly just here, man. Hoop-ball.com. You guys can follow me on all social media platforms of @VMCenter. Send me your picks. Send me your stuff. I love seeing that stuff. I love hearing that you guys are backing us. And, like I said, we're going to make miracles happen. Sorry for that horrible pun using my last name. But, we're going to make miracles happen. Just follow me for this long, tough roller coaster road that we're about to go on, because at the end of the NBA season, we're going to have money in our pockets, guys, and it's going to be because of these picks, and I'm so excited. I'm telling you this right now, Devin, I've never been so excited for the first week of the NBA season, because there's so many good picks available, because Vegas doesn't know what to do with these teams.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's important to have people that have their ears to the ground, like we do over here at Hoop Ball. And it just speaks volumes. These guys year in, year out win their leagues, help other people win leagues, win money. Now we got the gaming division to wrap it all together. We're going to probably hit heavy into some NBA prop bets and stuff, on a daily basis throughout the year, to kind of go hand in hand and piggyback with the DFS pros with Santino and Mike over there. So like you said, man, it's just exciting right now for Hoop Ball. We got the premium launch. We got all the fantasy stuff. We got new contributors, Hoop Ball Mavs. Man, I'm a Mavericks fan, but this is my newest favorite, most listened to podcast. LB said it, he's doing it real good over there. Just had the voice of the Mavericks on the show yesterday. And then you also got Hoop Ball Hawks, my dark horse playoff team in the East. I love what the Hawks are doing, and also very exciting over on that podcast. Those are my two go-to Hoop Ball podcasts when I'm not listening to Dan talk about fantasy basketball. I love the content that those two guys put together.
Devin, we also should remind people here for all the sports betting. This is the sports betting side of it, today in sports betting, obviously being the name of the show. We just started a Discord as well. So, you get on that wager pass. Not only do you get all of our picks, but you guys actually get to talk to us. We have one of us in there every single day, and you can start asking us and giving us your picks. You can ask more in-depth conversation about the picks that we've had, start showing pictures of your parlays. I mean, all of us are already starting to get in there. It's brand new. So start becoming members of our Discord, get the conversation going, and let's all start helping each other make some money.
Absolutely. It's all love. It's all love around here. Well, real quickly, Mr. Vince, I'm just going to update you with what happened after my picks. So since that's the most important part of the show, it went Buddy Hield and then Brandon Clark were the 2 picks after mine. So with that being said, let's go ahead and just wrap this show up, put a nice silver, red, whatever color bow you like on it. As long as it's shiny, we're going to send it on out. You guys got some PM listening to do tonight with us, and guys and gals, hop on, join the team, and we're gonna roll here. It's gonna be fun. It really is. I keep stumbling over my words and using the same ones, but it's just, there's so much excitement within this community here right now, and glad to have Vince back in the fold, original Hoopball OG, coming back to make sure we're doing it right. And Vince, again, I'm looking forward to more shows with you, bud, and I'm looking forward to telling that Raiders pick tomorrow with you.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be a good one. You guys can, like I said, tweet me at VM Center, tweet Devin, tweet the whole crew at Hoopball Gaming. I mean, that's going to be a big game. That's going to be a big game for me.
Absolutely.
I'm excited.
Well, folks, again, we are at Hoopball Gaming on Twitter, at Hoopball Tweets, or at Hoopball Fantasy if you need some more fantasy stuff. Check the website out, hoop-ball.com. Don't forget to use those promo codes, hoopball20 for Manscaped and just hoopball for mybookie.ag. Let us know your thoughts. I'm sending you all of my good vibes, all of my good energies. We appreciate each and every one of you. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you back on the next one. I'll see you soon, Vince. Take care, boss.
This has been a Hoop Ball presentation.
Worried about the cost of college? Miami University's Tuition Promise guarantees that the cost of your education will stay the same for 4 years. Learn more and apply today at miamioh.edu/apply 2021.
While the family's together for the holidays, why not plan your next summer vacation? Right now, Ocean Isle Beach has lots of places to choose from. So book your Ocean Isle Beach getaway today at oceanisle.style.com.